Shanghai is a first-tier city in China and a famous international metropolis. However, under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party, this metropolis has become economically degenerate. An old man living in Shanghai said that Shanghai cannot compare to the scenery of his youth. His father was a senior intellectual and he lived in clover in childhood. The economic environment is so bad and Shanghai is no longer a good place. I was born in Shanghai and I am 84 years old, but I think Shanghai is not a good place.
为什么呢？
Why saying this? How do you put it? The social morality is getting worse and worse. The economy, as we said, is still far from the living standards when we were children. People living in Shanghai can feel the economic changes of the city most directly.
就我觉得上海越来越不像上海了。
I feel that Shanghai is becoming less and less like Shanghai. It seems that Shanghai is becoming more and more like Tianjin, including the economic situation in recent years and the environment in Shanghai. I feel that Shanghai is becoming more and more like Tianjin. So, I'm actually not particularly optimistic about Shanghai's overall future development. I don't know why Shanghai has become like this. Since when did Shanghai become increasingly mediocre and incompetent?
我一个上海人啊，都快在上海混不下去了。
I, a Shanghainese, can hardly make a living in Shanghai anymore. I have a condo under my name and I'm planning to sell it. I believe such a thing happened not to just one or two people in Shanghai. I don't know how many people here have sold their condos to escape this city. It's already 2025. Last night, a fan who I had a good chat with told me no matter how much money he lost, he would sell his condo in Shanghai in the next few days. And then he planned to take his wife and children to Xinjiang to grow cotton, and he didn't plan to come back after he left. I said, "Your words are not right. After all, Shanghai is your roots. Aren't you planning to come back and be a Shanghainese?" His answer really left me speechless. Does it really matter where you are from? The key point is to have a stable job and be able to support a family. Look at Shanghai now. Wages are not increasing, and many people are laid off in middle age. I feel like I can't afford to live in Shanghai. In the morning, I have a cup of soy milk, a bun, and a fried dough stick, which costs at least $1.40. Under the impact of e-commerce, people are more willing to shop online to buy supplies, which has also greatly impacted the business of physical stores.
在上海啊，想都不敢想。
In Shanghai, you might never expect such bad scenes. Now, many owners of restaurants, physical stores, and supermarkets in Shanghai want to close their doors and just quit. A few days ago, the owner of a tobacco and liquor store in Shanghai came to me to consult about his business. He complained to me repeatedly that he didn't want to run this physical store for even a day longer. Whoever wants to run it can take it. Now, he keeps losing money every month. Even if the business is not good, he dares not delay the monthly rent payment and employees' salaries. Fortunately, the tobacco license his store obtained a few years ago is still valid, which can ease the financial pressure if he encounters some problems. The key problem is that he doesn't know when diminishing momentum will end. On February 17, 2025, Gucci, the core luxury brand of Italian luxury giant Kering Group, closed its Real department store and New World Daimaru department store in Shanghai, bringing the number of Gucci stores in Shanghai to 7. This shows that on Nanjing West Road in Shanghai, which is famous for its luxury goods business district, Gucci only has one store left in Shanghai, Plaza 66. Gucci's move has attracted public attention, indirectly showing that Shanghai, China's most economically developed city, no longer has its former glory. Shanghai can be said to be one of the economic centers of China. Compared with Shanghai, Beijing is not only a megacity in terms of economic size, but also because of its capital state. In China, a country that places great emphasis on politics, it's regarded as the most important city in China. Beneath its still glamorous appearance, the city's lowest-class people are in great trouble. Majuchao is a gathering place for people doing odd jobs in the city. Have you ever seen a labor market at 4 o'clock in the morning? This is the most inclusive place in Beijing, Majuchao. Can you imagine? The most common people seen here are elderly people in their 50s or 60s, and a backpack is enough to hold all their belongings. At 4 o'clock in the morning on the street, the temperature is below zero. Some people are still asleep, while others have already packed their bags for life. Here, a breakfast that costs less than $1 can fill their stomachs. After all, only when you are full can you have the energy to work. The boss, who was looking for workers, told me that after the Spring Festival is the off-season, and the lowest wage today is $18 for 8 hours and $36 for 12 hours. Sorting couriers, carrying mud, and moving bricks, as long as you have physical strength, you can do the job. Whenever a boss says he's hiring, people will quickly surround him because in the world of Maju Chow, not being proactive means having no food to eat. Only by working hard can you win more opportunities. As long as you are selected, it means you have a chance to survive today. I saw on the internet that Beijing is great but too tough. Some people come with dreams but end up leaving crying. I used to think that Beijingers were born with a silver spoon in their mouths and would never have to worry about food and clothing until I saw this comment saying that Beijing locals are also working hard. This is the daily rental apartment that everyone has heard about on the internet for $2.10 a night. The difficult living conditions were far beyond my imagination. Outside of Beijing, waves of unemployment and bankruptcies are hitting every city. A man from Guiyang City, Guizhou Province, described the local situation. The year 2025 can be described as a year of bankruptcies in the restaurant industry. Not to mention making money, most stores may not even be able to break even. Take this place as an example. Guiyang Huaguo Yuan district. It is packed with people after 5 or 6 p.m. There's a residential community that can accommodate hundreds of thousands of people, but these restaurants cannot survive here. A man from Taiyuan City, Shanghai Province said, I can guarantee it, 70% of the bosses in Taiyuan can't afford to pay their employees' salaries. You may not believe it, bigger companies are cutting salaries and laying off employees, not to mention smaller ones. The problem is whether the companies can survive this year. Look at the major commercial office buildings in Taiyuan now. The tenants are replaced every month. I deal with bosses from all walks of life every day. Almost every one of them has various online loans and small loans. You can imagine how difficult it is to do physical business now. But which boss is willing to get himself into heavy debt and borrow from Peter to pay Paul every day just to keep the company alive? Oh, I dare not imagine that even the bosses are having such a miserable life. How much better can the lives of workers be? As China's economy declines, it's a common phenomenon that fewer and fewer customers are visiting physical stores. Oh my God, these few days after the New Year, business has been so terrible that it made me question my life. It made me realize once again that business will be even more difficult in 2025. It's been 6 days since we opened and my sales are less than $276. This situation has never happened in the more than 10 years since the store opened. I am really anxious that there have been no sales for several consecutive days. I never thought business would be so bad. I'm really confused. More and more people are realizing that it's difficult to run a physical store, so what is the prospect of e-commerce? This e-commerce boss is also burdened with huge debts. My friends, how difficult are your most difficult times? I'm not afraid of being laughed at. I don't even have a few dollars on me right now. Can you imagine? I used to own 3 factories, 2 supply chain stores, and my own e-commerce company. At that time, I had more than 300 employees and I had my own house, car, and company. This year, e-commerce traffic investment is very expensive, resulting in direct losses. Without putting money into buying the views, natural traffic would not be generated at all. In addition, in order to help my friend, I broke the capital chain and went bankrupt completely. After bankruptcy, I mortgaged my house, sold my car, and was left with more than $3 million in debt. Now, I can't even afford living expenses for my children. Of course, on China's official television, people see the situation in this country is still very good. When the hardships hit more and more people, the Chinese will know that what you see from the official media is not true. For our family of 4, $138 a month is the money for food. Look what we eat. In the evening, we drank millet porridge, ate steamed buns, and fried cabbage with tofu. We only have one dish, some steamed buns and some rice porridge. Brothers, I am here to buy this cheap bread today, a second-class product. Everyone is lining up here, grab and grab, do you see it? Everyone is grabbing them here, grabbing the cheap bread like crazy. I'll give you a bag because I feel sorry for you. All the bread has fallen to the ground. Is there another bag? There are only 2 bags and I gave one to her. Getting into college and changing social class were once the hopes of children born into ordinary Chinese families. This bubble of hope has collectively burst in the past 2 years. In today's wave of unemployment, some college graduates have to pick up food from garbage cans to fill their stomachs.
天天喊口号。
We hear the media shout slogans every day that the economy is on the rise. Look at those low-level workers who came out during the Chinese New Year. They can't find jobs, have no income, no money to eat, and no place to sleep. They can only sleep under the eaves or on the streets. They save money to make a living. Aren't the Chinese all getting out of poverty and becoming rich? What is wrong with this society? Look at the college students who can't find jobs, have no money to eat, and have to eat by picking up leftover garbage on the roadside. What's wrong with society? This is how it feels to be a college graduate. A total of 68,900. My parents spent at least 68,900 to raise me from childhood to college. But now that I've graduated, I can't find a job. If a family wants to raise a child until he finishes college, it costs more than buying many luxury goods. Things were different in the past. In the past, college students had stable jobs and good prospects after graduation. But it's different now. There are too many college students, including a lot from the top 30 or top 100 universities. It's even harder for us ordinary undergraduates to find jobs. Among the unemployed groups, middle-aged people are the most panicked. They have elderly parents and young children to support, and many are burdened with heavy mortgage loans. You won't feel the pain when you are not the one being beaten. You won't never know how painful it is when you are not the one stabbed by a knifer. I just came back home. The company announced its bankruptcy and notified of layoffs. I just signed and received 3 months compensation. My husband is also transferred and has his salary reduced. He is now assigned to work on a project that is quite far away from home. If you don't accept it, take the compensation and leave. It's so difficult. I feel that this year, 2025, is more difficult than the previous 2 or 3 years. There are hardly any people hanging on the streets. I feel quite lost now because I am over 40 years old, have elderly parents and young children to take care of, and I have a mortgage to pay for. I don't know what the future will be like. I'm getting older, and it's not easy to find a job, which is quite annoying. There are more and more unemployed people now, and their situation is worrying. Those who cannot find a job or those who have a job but cannot afford to rent a room have no choice but to sleep under the bridges, and even then, the space is limited.
下班回家。
After getting off work, I go home and find my bed. It's over. When does this woman come? My bed is occupied by her. Today, I have no place to sleep because of the 10-minute delay. This is life, alas. What went wrong? China's bad economy is caused by the CCP's regime. The officials at all levels are corrupt and do not think about how to solve the plight of the Chinese people. The party is only concerned about how to maintain its own rule and how to exploit the people even more deeply. Following the example of their superiors, the urban management officials are not soft on their taxpayers. Get out of the bicycle. The suffering people question the CCP. Dear leaders of the central government, look at those people born in the 1940s and 1950s. Those old men, their pension is only more than $20. They can hardly live. Look at this elderly person. He is over 90 years old. What do they do with these $20? It's not enough to buy medicine for a month. You can get a little reimbursement only when you need costly hospital stays. This is the actual situation now. Look at those elderly people. They are in their 80s, almost 90. The elderly people in rural areas are suffering. Do you agree? They can't do anything now and can't find money. These doubts and questions get to the root of the problem. We believe that in the future, more and more Chinese people will realize that only when the CCP collapses can people live a normal life. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.